Just answering questions with WAPTech. Let's see what we got here. Context is important. The Bellagio was already on lockdown due to the earlier shooting around 11:20 that Renee experienced. No, they were on lockdown because there was a shooting in the area where a concert full of people were being shot. They didn't have a shooting at the Bellagio that day. You're not allowed to sneak that back. Paddock had been confirmed dead for 15 minutes at the time a man with a rifle is spotted going in the Bellagio employee entrance. Okay, this is a story someone brought up, and I want to know where it came from. And I do. We have a report of such and such. No, false alarm. And they didn't explain what it was, but it was somebody walking in, carrying bags or something. Or not. I mean, you do know that, what was this again? A man with a rifle is spotted going into the Bellagio employee entrance. There's a video where someone says they see somebody walking along with a normally airplane-mounted chain gun at the Mandalay Bay. He isn't holding anything, and he's just simply walking away from the shooting, trying to get away. And he's referred to as the tram station shooter. That meme was crap because eventually I found a cleaner version of the video and posted the freeze frames. I said, no, it's not a guy walking with anything. It's somebody making this assertion. And it was based on the video itself of the actual taxi cab lady. Just had to get a cleaner copy, and oh, well, the gun disappears. Then his claim is, well, they redacted it. He had said that before. Well, they redacted it. So you're saying there's a video that doesn't prove your point, and the reason it doesn't prove your point is because it was redacted, because the CIA got to them. So where did you see the gun from? Oh, I saw it before. No, you didn't, because you didn't look, because the person was posting it as a, well, there's a YouTube video. The original video was on Facebook. Did you know that? That person didn't want to talk to me anymore because I asked them a real simple question. Did you look at the actual original that never showed this in the first place? Or the YouTube video you said originally had this? I'm sorry, but again, why is this happening? And yeah, there's audio recording of lots of people being, well, we may have a shooter at such and such location. Negative, we can't find anybody. So either somebody was spotted there and they got in and out really quickly, or not. But your claim is Renee Downs was responding to a building that was on lockdown because of a shooting that happened before. That you're not allowed to sneak that in. When did that happen? Next. Shortly after, gunfire-like sound on the scanner. I've already explained that. You actually have to listen to the scanner audio, not the audio going through another layer of recording. You deliberately look for the noisiest version of an audio recording so there's more to interpret. Ambiguity is the friend of the liar and fraudster and failed conspiracy theorists. Nobody's going to watch my videos, nobody's going to care. But no, really, those are faked videos. Because people obviously did listen to the recordings of the scanner because they referenced them in some cases. But even they won't point to that because they know that it would disprove their point. It doesn't sound like gunfire at all. It's low muffled rolling noise. Come on. And yes, there was a dispatch at Bellagio. No, there was a person on the radio who said, I'm hearing shots over the radio. But there was gunfire at the Bellagio. Where is this recording? I'm sure there is one. But you're leaving it out of context because I'll tear it apart and do a video comparison where I put the one audio in the right ear and the other in the left so you know where it came from. Origin stories are very important. A 9/11 caller whispering because the shooter's inside with them at the Bellagio. And everybody else walking around saying there's nobody shooting. Shooters don't just stand in a corner and aim at one person like that. If they're mass shooters, who was it? When was it exactly? Where was this person? A bunch of people have given me the same information you are. Okay. Where are the shot people? Where are the bullet holes in the wall? Give me data. No? I saw some conspiracy theorists refuse to go to the Mandalay Bay and do any filming because they wanted to wait for enough time so they could say, oh, they cleaned it up. Renee Downs was there the next day. Still. You know that? She walked around. Well, it looked completely normal, like they cleaned it up. Yeah, she immediately assumed it was a cover-up because she found out she was wrong about something she assumed the night before. She's not able to deal with it, maybe. Or not. I mean, I don't want to criticize her. She went through a lot of crap. And yeah, they requested a strike team. You're referring to the radio audio, right? Well, I went to the radio audio itself too, and again, it wasn't gunshots. The gunfire-like sound on the scanner really does seem like gunfire to me, but you're not listening to the actual scanner audio, and you posted this under a video where I left a link to it. Go listen to the audio. It isn't gunfire. I think it's critical either way. The critical thing isn't some isolated sounds we hear on the scanner. Yes, it is, because that's where the sound came from. That audio is the originating source. That's as close to the original audio as you're going to get. It's a radio frequency anomaly. It happens in radios all the time. You can listen to scanners do it all the damn time, because the scanner picks up a radio doing that. It's an automatic gain control reaction or whatever. It's noise on the system. They mention it in manuals for when you set up these things. It's a totality of evidence. You're avoiding the fact that the original source for the audio was a radio signal, and it was recorded. And that recording was recorded, oddly enough, on the 911 recordings that we're talking about, and it shows, if you listen to it and stop deliberately trying to make it into gunfire, that it's not freaking gunfire. You're being obstinate. Go sit in a corner. Several people have pointed out that the gunfire-like sound could be a radio artifact. I agree that's possible. No, it is radio artifact. It's not gun. So your story of everybody reporting them hearing that, because they were fooled like you were, is caused by them not just listening straight to the radio. They were listening to it being repeated over open mics everywhere. You can hear it on one of the recordings echoing 3 or 4 times, because they were in a room and it allowed it. So let's go listen to that instead of the original audio and figure out what the hell it is, right? Though not most probable in context. In context, it is either a gunshot or it is not. That you're making it about the context, you're weaseling. Several have pointed out that the police declared the calls to be false alarms on the scanner, which is, from their perspective, case closed. They were at the location a reported shooting was at and couldn't find any evidence of it, unlike you going there. You didn't do it, do you? And they didn't find any evidence of shooting. And the people who made the claim were asked, was there a shooting? And they figured out that they weren't really being shot at. They weren't shot. There wasn't any bullet holes. There's no gunman. They surround the building and didn't find somebody. If you want to make a claim that a gunman was there and seen, who was the witness? Present your evidence. I think it's strange to listen to the police when they say it's a false alarm, but not listen to them when they request a second strike team immediately afterward. They requested a second strike team to be safe. That's not that you're not listening to them. Their assertion is there wasn't a shooting because they evaluated the situation and found out there wasn't a shooting. You're ignoring their conclusion. You're ignoring the origin story for the sound you keep bringing up, which is a radio noise. You're ignoring the original source because you want it to be about every other recording that makes it ambiguous, so you don't have to stop weaseling out. Stop it. Medics reported getting shot at the Tropicana. Who is it? Is he shot? Was he shot? No. Somebody reported that there was a possible shooting at the Tropicana. A medic got shot? No. They found a person who was shot went to the Tropicana from there and was identified. You're looking for shooters everywhere and you're weaseling it in. You really have to cherry pick from the scanner to walk away thinking it supports the official narrative. Stop saying official narrative. That's a dead giveaway. You really have to be straining yourself to make a non-official narrative of the majority of people saying there was only shootings in one area. The majority of people saying that the other person over there, the minority of people who said there's a shooting going on in the room, saying no, they're panicking. There's no shooting going on. No audio recordings except for, this is basically it. The only audio recordings anybody are presenting is something I traced down to its origin, like any of you could, that turns out to be a noise on the radio chatter. It's undeniably so. It synchronizes exactly. It's the only source for that sound. It's a radio anomaly. The person who was on the radio talking to 911, no, talking to a dispatcher, excuse me, it's a radio call, wasn't responding as if they were being fired upon. Very nonchalant. One guy even said that. He was very nonchalant about being shot at, and I posted below. Yeah, because he's not being fired upon. I'm sorry, but most of the police in Las Vegas are pretty green to being fired upon, apparently. So they react intensely. In case you didn't notice, the majority of them aren't that cool. So he wasn't being fired upon. Right? That's logical? No? Wow. So I'm not cherry picking. I'm taking the majority of the opinions and the majority of data and using it. You're cherry picking by looking for something that's anomalous. Phenomena. I think the most straightforward way to analyze what happened that night is to listen to the whole police scanner and listen to the 911 calls and judge for yourself rather than relying on the narratives. You keep using that word. It doesn't mean what you think it means. The majority of the communications that night and the majority of evidence do not point to an extra shooter at the location, because the place where that guy was, the police officer, why don't you listen to the rest of the recording? You can figure out where he was. It's not one of the places claimed to be fired upon. That one radio, him, is the source. Okay, next. Let's see here. I think the most likely police were engaged in cover-up in real time, that their false alarms just what they needed to close the calls officially so they could handle them and take them off the books. Counterpoint. That means you have to make a gigantic conspiracy for apparently 1 or 2 shooters. In a city full of people recording, nobody recorded the shooters. And they're all supposed to be on the ground because that sounds more exciting from a action movie standpoint. You're demanding insanity be what we base this on. I say that in part because the scanner itself documents at least 2 examples of police seemingly engaging in real-time cover-up, instructing the police not to point cameras under their control at certain areas. You'd have to find out what those areas were, and you have to say that something was happening there at that moment that's related. It could be not shooters, but you have to say what it is. You're the one creating this conspiracy theory now, because you won't cite any of your sources. So you have to provide proof. Post it. Stopping Fox from recording what's going on, pushing them back because not all suspects were accounted for. Or getting a news crew out of the line of fire because they hadn't cleared the area yet. You'd have to ask the actual... look up the radio chatter and find out which police officer was involved in that complaint that he wanted the news crew out of the way. The news crew was in the way. That's happened in lots of incidents. This was a fairly large scale one though. So yeah, there was a news crew there that night. I would like to see every angle of the relevant parts of Bellagio from 11 to midnight unedited. That could answer my questions very easily. No, it wouldn't, because you'd ignore the majority of the videos and look for the one anomalous ones that shows a monkey in a frickin' raincoat. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with it. I'm tired of it. And I'm starting to think shooting certain birds is appropriate at this point.